Hey everyone, John Robson. I've noticed I've covered a few of John's articles in recent videos, and I gotta say, he's putting forth some good stuff and this is out of the National Post, of course, but he's putting forth some great articles and some great information that Canadians really need to learn. And the comment or the headline of this particular article is Money and Property Aren't Petty Obsessions. There are freedom given form. A little bit of a weird headline, but I'll read on so you'll understand what he's trying to say here. Canadians generally regard their governments as unwieldy, distant, callous, expensive, arrogant, and inept. And I'll add mystical and wholly illegitimate. And I've proven that in past videos. Even those most enthusiastic about entrusting everything important to the state are dismayed by its current performance. But many people keep looking for exciting new powers it could wield. They should instead ponder Calvin Coolidge's aphorism that property rights and personal rights are the same thing. That's true, because of property, your body is your property, which means if your body is your property, that means your mind, your hands, and everything that you can do with them both, so the products of your labor or the products of your mind, are your property as well. This claim might seem odd, even demented or dishonest. We may concede that protecting property is necessary for economic growth, but surely it undermines fairness by fencing in privilege. Wrong. Not at all. As I recently argued at a town hall meeting of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party Blue Ribbon Property Rights Panel, the reverse is true. Ontario Progressive Conservatives, stop. Anyways, I won't even get into that. Property rights fence privileges out. In William Pitt's once famous declaration, the poorest man may in his cottage bid defiance to all the forces of the crown. It may be frail, its roof may shake, the winds may blow through it, the storm may enter, the rain may enter, but the King of England cannot enter. So property rights is foundationally important. All his force dare not cross the threshold of the ruined tenement. Right? Like I say, very important. Property rights are not the rights of things. They are the rights of people to make their own decisions. Oh yes, one might sneer, the rich and poor may decide where to pack a yacht and which marble to install in the third spare bedroom. But to say so is to misunderstand what property rights are and where they came from. John Locke, he's referencing Locke. Beautiful. I implore you, and I suggest you right now, John Locke, and Locke is L-O-C-K-E is the last name. Do a quick Google search, and yeah, you'll find yourself inundated with some amazing revelations and information that will truly enlighten you. I guarantee it. Look it up. John Locke says we have a natural right to our lives, liberties, and estates, which basically is property, right? Which I call by the general name property. Well, okay, so I just had to continue on reading. Anyways, but why would he do such a thing? What have our precious lives and freedoms to do with mere things? Well, they're not just mere things. Stifling the retort that if mere things are unimportant, you shouldn't be obsessed with getting hold of mine, let me insist that any talk of mere things or mere money is profoundly confused. The core of property rights is ownership of ourselves. It is because we own ourselves, including our bodies, that we own our time and effort. Beautiful. I'm telling you, it's us libertarians, it's those of us that have been doing this stuff for years is why these people in the established media are now coming around. You see? Yeah. Pat on the fucking back. They're finally coming around. And it took many, many years of us giving truth and objective reason and logic, presenting it on a daily basis for them to finally come around. But they're coming around. The core of property rights is ownership of ourselves. It is because we own ourselves, including our bodies, that we own our time and effort. Would anyone deny it and make us slaves? But if we own our labor, then we own those things we make by the sweat of our brow, provided we do not use force or fraud. What else can freedom mean? Like I say, it's about time hey, we're helping educate and inform them, and in turn, I guess they're returning the favor and helping inform the general public that don't watch our videos or listen to what we have to say. Thank goodness for people like John Robson here that's willing to step up and assume that task and that role to speak honestly and objectively about these things that have actually, they used to be known, it used to be very prevalent and common knowledge at one point in time. Still, it is not narrow-minded to accumulate stuff in the employ of Scrooge and Marley while Tiny Tim's bright eyes cloud over. Not at all. His spirit, like everyone else's, was housed in a physical body subject to the arrow of time within a material world. Without mere food, he would sicken and die, while without a mere house, we are homeless. Hence, the redeemed Scrooge gives Bob Cratchit a raise, not a lecture about money being worthless. Now consider my neighbor as a kid who toiled every summer expanding a small cottage as his family grew. Can one claim that to expropriate it after 3 decades or forcing him to demolish it would be no real injury to him, merely an affair of inert bits of wood and glass, tile and screen? No, to steal the physical incarnation of his dreams would be to steal part of his soul, to deny his humanity. Just frickin' beautiful. I'm going to finish reading this entire article. There's about 3 or 4 paragraphs left. But yeah, I'm loving how he's going with this so far. And this is very important stuff. So yeah. From this perspective, it is also clear why political and property rights are inseparable. We cannot be killed or imprisoned arbitrarily because each of us is the unique, precious possessor of our own body. We have free speech because we own our own tongues, ears, and brains and may decide what to say or listen to, though we may neither compel others to speak to nor to heed us. And we are free from arbitrary search and seizure because we own those things we made with our scarce, fleeting time and effort. Beautiful. Exactly. When someone takes anything from you arbitrarily or under the guise of government or central planning or forced welfare distribution, they're basically enslaving you for a portion, an indefinite portion of your lifetime. This is what it means, what property and human rights, we're getting to the core, the fundamental aspects of what human rights are all about. It is not the owner of a mansion who is protected by Pitt's doctrine that, as Koch put it earlier in John Adams' letter, a man's home is his castle. In societies where property rights are trampled, the politically powerful live obscenely well anyway. Only where the rule of law holds sway can even the peasant in his damp hovel not be disturbed or robbed. As Leon Trotsky observed in a lucid moment in exile, in a country where the sole employer is the state, opposition means death by slow starvation. And socialist George Bernard Shaw surprisingly nailed the even larger issue. That is the use of money. It enables us to get what we want instead of what other people think we want. Our individuality is inseparable from our ownership of ourselves, our labor, and its fruits. And government's growing habit of treating us as annoying bags of soggy meat, clinging pettily to bits of wood, metal, and plastic is not the path to a brighter or less infuriating future. So true. Like I say, beautiful job. Well done, Mr. Robson, John Robson. This is an excellent article, and I appreciate you for putting this forth, because that means that I don't have to rely on my small video or my YouTube channel or my posts on Facebook. It means that the kind of things I talk about is now going to be put forth and presented on the main stage, because the National Post is an established media outlet. So the people that may normally never hear the kind of words or information that people like myself put forth will now be privy to it, because those in the established media, or at least a few of them, are willing to step outside the bounds of conformity and speak truth to reason to them. Thank you, John Robson, for doing this. And I'll do my best to share this with as many people as I can. Cicada Libertarian, and I love liberty.